Well, welcome. Liverpool 12th man is here. We are joined by, of course, Lee in the house. Big up, Lee. How are you?
Yeah, goals, yeah.
Big up, Norm. Oh, wow. We've got a lot of people all waiting. This one of the few times you roll in to the stream. I've already got at least 40 people here in the stream. That's pretty cool. So, I guess everyone might be waiting for the fallout of what is to happen. Maybe talk a little bit of England football. I thought we would do something different today. That's at least what my ideas were, because right now we just had possibly one of the biggest games in recent English history, and we're about to have one of the biggest games in U.S. men's national team history coming up later on today. So I figured, well, while we have a little bit of fuel left in the jet, in the Liverbird Jet, the G6 that again that John W. gifted us, I figured we'd talk a little bit of football around the world, a little bit, I guess you could call it, a little bit of like take a couple little here's and there's on the Liverbird Jet. So why don't we do that with a couple of stories that I have. Most notably, I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I wanted to hear what you had what your thoughts on were for last night's game. I ended up going down to the heart of the city in my state, and there is quite a Mexican orient Mexican ethnicity of in uh, in that area. So it was like it was unique in the sense of it was like every place there were lines to get into some of the watch parties. Basically, that's how that's how big this game was. So I can only imagine what it was like on your end of the pond. What was your thoughts? What was your night like, Lee?
Yeah, they made it a bloody good atmosphere. It was raucous, like inside the stadium, wasn't it? Bloody noise they made. And that always makes it good, when you can hear that it's like a mad atmosphere and that it makes it more exciting. And the game itself was exciting. As I said to you, I didn't realise that the pubs were open until last night, not that long before kickoff. I didn't realise it was a thing. So when I found out, I thought I would sample it like and see what it was like to be sat in the pub at 4 a.m. Because
Mm-hmm.
usually you won't be sat in there no later than 12 to 1 if you're lucky.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was all right. It was quite good. I enjoyed myself. It was a laugh.
That's
It
cool.
was exciting. Yeah, it was quite exciting. I enjoyed it. Didn't agree with all the decisions. Thought it was harsh on Kwanzaa
Yeah,
to be sent off.
yeah.
You can see why he did it, but obviously it was moaning. And the hour delay didn't help because I just got myself in the perfect like sort of mood and ambience with the right amount of pints, and then it said kick off delayed by an hour, and I was like, "You
I
swine!"
know, I know. That was weird, but that's because of the thunderstorms and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was a hot one, and it was it was a hot one on the pitch. My condolences, by the way. When I say condolences, I mean like as in for his circumstances to Jordan Henderson. Apparently, Jordan Henderson in the run up of celebrations um, slipped and fell and apparently really hurt himself. Like as in, I think he's got a broken wrist or something like that right now. So it
Oh,
looks like he will not be he'd be not partaking in any more of the games in
that's tough on the lad, isn't it? Because we all still like him. He's a nice enough lad, like, and he did really good for us. Like, he can't be denied. He was a good captain, took on the mantle well from Gerrard, which was difficult to do, to take the
yeah.
captaincy from Steven Gerrard. And I feel so, I can't help laughing because of the circumstances of it. It is a funny one, like, innit? It's like that
Mhm.
goalie dropping the iron on his foot or one of them, innit? Like, but yeah, it's a shame for him, like, if that's the end of his World Cup. But you never know. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe he could play with a cast or something, like, if it is just his wrist. I've seen that done before. Players play with broken wrists.
I've seen that too, and that's why when I heard it was a broke wrist or something, it was like he hurt. It just said he had an injury to his wrist. I was thinking like, okay, put a cast on that thing and get out there. I don't see, and you're not playing goal. You're not playing in the goal, so it's a weird one. But when I saw it, I saw the footage. I don't know. Did you see how it happened?
I didn't know. I didn't know nothing about it until today. Didn't know nothing about it last night when it happens. And I've only heard
Yeah,
about it today. Like, what happens?
yeah. They had Harry Kane was talking about it in the post game interview. Harry Kane has lost his voice, so it was kind of hard to make out everything he was saying. But he had talked about how he had hurt himself going over. So you know how there's those little things for the advertisements, those little boards. He was trying to climb over the board or hurdle himself over the board, and he slipped off of the board, and you saw him hit. It was a bad fall, and when he fell, he broke. He hurt his wrist going that way. So it was a wild one. Did you hear this fun? It was a funny one. In the press conference, I'm going to try my best way to properly engage this portion of the press conference. But there was a question about how they're going to be able to negotiate the altitude. Okay. And the the reporter asked Tuchel. The reporter asked Tuchel if it was true that the English team was taking Viagra to take on the altitude. Sorry, it's difficult to say. I swear.
Well, I'm sure you're making that up. Well,
I swear that's the question.
Yeah. What a strange thing to say. That's crazy. That puts me in mind of Pele and his advert for erectile dysfunction. He's so funny. I found it on YouTube. Love Pele, mate. He's my favourite player. He was a lovely bloke. But it was funny that advert he did for Viagra or whatever it is. In Portuguese, he was speaking like, but in his Pele voice, it's just so bloody funny.
Yeah, let me look it up. I'll even look it up for you. Because it was funny and it was really funny. But Jordan Henderson's answer was funny too. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on 1 second. It was hilarious. So yes. Thomas Tuchel laughed off and dismissed the suggestion, responding, "The information and the support didn't reach me, so that is not true." But he was asked if they were taking Viagra. He's like, media outlets speculated about the use of Viagra because it widens blood vessels, improves blood flow, and is technically permitted by the World Anti-Doping Agency. It's funny, like, because he got asked that question, and obviously I gave him his answer. He said no, but Jordan Henderson was at the press conference, and when he was sitting next to Tuchel, and when they went to Jordan Henderson, he says, when he was asked about the altitude thing, he says, "Well, the Viagra helped." He's like, "I'm joking. Only joking." That's exactly what he said. He's like, I'm joking. It was funny. New heights on the pitch. Yes, on and off for certain. Big up to Lee. Big up Red Orange supporter. Big up to Norm. We'll take the opportunity to say what's up to. Shout out to, again, we're up to 50 people already from the very jump. So appreciate everyone joining early, whether you're watching on YouTube or on X. definitely find a seat. It might feel a little jam-packed today in the Liverbird, but we're up and ready, flying high. The GFX card. No worries, no worries. Viagra aside, JK, what did you think about that game?
First of all, evening, Lee and you.
Evening, JK.
Evening.
That's up, bros. Lee Whiskey, Red Armchair, Helio, Norman in the chat, everyone, man. That game was boring, bro. Too scared to lose. The
Wait a minute.
Spain one, yeah?
You mean Spain, Portugal? We're talking about England. That's why. Yeah.
Oh, the England game was probably the best one of the World Cup so far. It was a
agree.
late one.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
It was just a proper brawl. It was a tough game. It was enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, two teams going at it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't any sit back and let's just hope and pray that we can get a result. It's pretty wild that it came down to what it did. I mean, I thought that if you're looking at the game, I thought Mexico was the better team in the very beginning of the first half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they allowed for the Harry Kane goal, and then or assume not the Harry Kane goal, the Jude Bellingham goal, right? Mm-hmm. And then they allowed for a second goal moments later, and I was like,
oh, mate, I missed it. The second goal, right after the first one. I went, yeah, and I had to go to the toilet, and they're up a big loads of stairs in this pub where I was. And when I was on the stairs, I heard, ugh, and I said to the guy the next analyst said, that's either the replay or we've scored again straight away. And he went, oh, the replay, mate. Went down, and it was 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bellingham was like quality yesterday. He played wicked.
Probably he was.
Seen him as well, Lee.
Yeah. Jude was on different. He was on some Jude settings.
Well, when he went to Madrid, he was on fire. Then last season, he wasn't great, so he needed a big tournament now to get back to the limelight. You know what I mean? Because him and Trent, realistically, last season we never really talked about them football-wise, did we? But Bellingham's smashing it this time. The Kwanzaa's red card.
Do you think that Kwanzaa is going to get a reprieve?
Look, bro, at the end of the day, in my eyes, that Bellingham one was messy, but in a weird sort of way, he weren't really looking at the guy behind him or in that situation. He was looking at the ball, so you can give him that. But Kwanzaa's, for me, it was the follow-through. It
was the follow-through, and not only that, his reminded me somewhat like it reminded me of Curtis Jones's in the way he was on his foot was on the ball and then it slid off, and the follow-through of it sliding off the ball went into the player. And I thought it was unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I thought
it was harsh. I mean, I'm going to say that because he was our player. I mean, Liverpool's player, and I didn't want it to happen to him. I felt for him. He looked distraught, but maybe it'll be rescinded. I can't see it. I don't think it'll be rescinded. I think he's going to have to miss the next game. But hopefully there will be choices for Tuchel. Hopefully Reece James can get himself fit. I don't know who else is there who can play right back. You talk Reece James. Who else?
Reece James would be the starter then. I would assume.
Yeah, if he's fit. Yeah, Spence. If Reece James can't be fit, it'd probably be Spence, and then we'll have O'Reilly at left back. But yeah, it was a shame for him. I felt it was. He didn't apparently that's not in the rules, is it? It's not, it doesn't matter if you don't intend it, if you go through, and the way players react now to any touch, you know what I mean? The player reacted like he'd been shot.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, with the crowd behind them, you know, because he went and looked at it, didn't he? You know what I mean? He didn't see it first time. He went back and had a look, in the crowd and making a lot of noise. Similar with the penalty that Kane gave away. Do you know what I mean? I felt I was like little bit harsh.
Yeah, but it's still a penalty for me.
Wait. Do you mean the penalty that Kane got, or the penalty that Kane gave?
Give away, the one he gave away, where he went to kick it, and in the time
that was a foul. That was a foul.
In the time it took like for his leg to get there, some bloke had come in like hadn't he, and got there, but he was going nowhere. The bloke, it's not like he was going to bastard score if he'd got onto it. Like he was going nowhere. But you know that's the rules, isn't it? Like,
yeah, for me, quickly about Kwanzaa, no one here could say when Kwanzaa left to go to Leverkusen, oh, that guy's going to be playing against in the World Cup, you know, against Mexico in the going on into the quarterfinals and stuff. No one would ever sort of say that, and that just shows sometimes you might have to leave a big club just to improve yourself, improve the game, or whatever it is. You know, you don't always have to be sad. So it was great to see that. Like Kwanzaa left Liverpool, went to Leverkusen, did pretty well for him. And now he's playing for the England World Cup team, bro. Come on. That's like fair play to him. And I think he was playing pretty well. I just feel that challenge, it was just a little bit too much. But the thing is, when you, hopefully, the next game, if Reece James comes in and he does well, he's going to play the game after that, the semi-final, won't he? So, for me, Konza sort of missed a trick there. He could have got a regular, I'm going to play for the rest of the tournament sort of thing situation if he stayed on yesterday. You know what I mean? If England won. Yeah, it's true. Lee was good. I think if Mexico kept their nerve a little bit more, thinking, you know what, there's 10 men here, we can do this. And I think they went a bit too much OTT with it. Jimenez, another guy, big up respect to him. He broke his, fractured his vertebrae in his neck. So realistically, he could have been in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. That guy's scoring goals and everything in the World Cup, man. Proper, I like Jimenez. He's gone back to Wolves, man. That's a bit of a man.
He had two or three different shots that could have been goals that were just really good saves. Yeah, there were a lot that went down in that game where I was like, oh wow. How about the shout out to the what is his name now? Goes Mike on his name now. Hold on, I'll grab it for you.
Notorious JK. That's my new name now. Helio said like Notorious JK, man. I like that. It's true. Norway, I know, walkover was good. I think they got a good sort of mindset. They're going to work for each other. They've got one superstar. And away you go. You know, that lad who got the 2 assists as well, I reckon he paid sound. I think Helio's saying he likes him as well.
I was going to say, shout out to Julian Quinones. He is a naturalized Mexican citizen, but he is it is very interesting to see a man of color, black man playing for Team Mexico.
It is, yeah, that is. It is different, isn't it? Like, yeah, something. And Japan's goalie as well.
Suzuki.
Yeah. Suzuki, you know what's funny about that? That there was now, you know, it could be just because of the World Cup, but there was a rumor that popped out that said that Liverpool are monitoring that goalkeeper.
Okay. He did well.
He did well. I don't know if he's Liverpool quality just yet, or if he has the ability to play for Liverpool or not. But he's an American. He was born in America. But has parents that are Japanese, or a parent that, or I believe at least one of his parents is Japanese. That's why he's able to play for the Japanese national team. Unique situation.
I mean,
Um,
Mexico, they're no pushover in that Azteca Stadium. They're a decent size and they're much, much better in that stadium at that altitude. But England coped with it well, and I was impressed by how they did it. Because it could have went wrong so easily, that game. Like, could have lost that so easily, but we didn't. And give me a bit of hope, give me a bit of excitement. That's what I went out for. Like, I didn't go out to see them bloody lose. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, I had a good laugh, really. Like, yeah.
It was good to, like, like when you're in a big game like that, and you see there's an energy that the team displays of, we're gonna win this. And all throughout that game, England had that energy about them. It was the first time I've seen them play like, I don't know, I would say like a big team. Like they were just solid enough to win that game. Like Stones came on, and we were talking about Stones, and all of a sudden he's playing yesterday. I was like, okay, fair play. But
he's
yeah,
one of them many Stones. He's such a good player. If he can be like Reece James at right back, if he can be fit, Stones still be useful for England. But it's just a fitness thing, innit? I was so pleased with Saka though when he went on the outside and created the first goal. It was just the best move of the match for me. Like that sort of ignited things for England. Saka's run and cross. Because I wanted them to, I said, just go on the outside, and he duly obliged, stuck it in with his right foot. And next thing you know,
bringing him off was a good idea. Like I would have taken Saka off instead of Gordon. That was the right decision he made there. Because I think Saka at that time when they went down to 10 man, he wasn't really involved in the game by that assist really. And I was thinking, okay, if he's going to take anyone off, it's going to be Saka, and it was Saka. And I think it was a good move that he could have got that wrong. I think Gordon got the pen as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I must say, in fairness to Gordon, like I've slagged him off before and said he's not good enough for Liverpool, but he's getting better. There's no doubt he's getting better.
After all these years,
given his move to Barca. Yeah, I've never said he was rubbish. I've always said
you never said that. You just didn't like him in that way.
Just didn't fancy him for Liverpool. Like, and a lot of it was due to his time at Everton and the way he behaved on the pitch. I just can't like blank that out in my mind. But really, I should. It's not fair to judge him by his antics in the derby, trying to gain pens. I mean, what else is the lad going to do? He's playing in a shit Everton team against Jurgen Klopp's teams. You know, no wonder he's going to dive and that. Like, so maybe I was being too harsh on him for that reason. But he's improving as a player, and I definitely think it was the right call to start him and Saka over Madueke and Rashford. As I said before, it's not that Madueke and Rashford haven't done well, but I thought we looked better and a bit sharper, a bit more potent and dangerous in wide areas last night, or this morning, sorry. And
I know that, I know.
Encouraging.
It is certainly encouraging, and I was going to say, I know that John Stones isn't necessarily everyone's cup of tea, maybe because of his injury likeness, but he is a veteran presence, and he is a solid and very, very functionable center half for a team as our own that is kind of limited on center halves. But I know that John Stones isn't necessarily he's not what they say, young chicken or spring chicken. So yeah, I don't think that we would go for him, but I do think that we will see Stones in Liverpool. I think Everton will go for him, to be honest with you. That's just maybe me making a broad
see like a Coventry or someone like that over
him. Okay, I know why you want Coventry to go for him, but that's still
they need a bit of experience in the defense.
Yeah,
he'd be sort of sound.
Very similar to what you saw with Walker going to Burnley or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think I don't know why. I think Kyle Walker going to Burnley was a weird one, man. I just didn't understand it, but for me, Pep Guardiola is a top manager in that way. He knows, like Alex Ferguson, he used to sell big names, and everyone was like, "Wow, how's Ferguson getting rid of him?" And like then you realise a year later why he did. It's like mad how these top managers know when to get rid of a player.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, like I said, we're on the Liverbird Jet 6 here. You know, today's destination is the footballing world, Each airport is going to represent another chapter in football's changing story. At least that's how I have today's episode set up. Each stop will remind us why the game never truly belongs to one generation. That is another premise of what this show is going to be about today. It simply gets borrowed. It's being definitely passed on. And I would say fasten your seatbelts, I, as your captain, have received clearance for departure. Welcome aboard. Another journey on the Liverbird Jet, Our first stop is obviously going to be really our first departure, which is Liverpool. So I would say, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard the Liverbird Jet. Oh, let me see if I can get the other picture for us. We are, and I will like to say that
going on holiday. Lee was
yeah, exactly. While we're here in Liverpool, we're going to talk about a certain individual that I was hopeful to see be joining the coaching squad, but our first stop isn't about transfer; it's about perspective. Over the past week, there have been some growing speculation that Thiago Alcantara would be joining or returning to Liverpool as part of Iriola's coaching staff. It's, I think, an idea that most of us supporters are all in for. I think a lot of us love the idea. And I would say, why wouldn't we? Because I think that there are some players that could definitely benefit from his tutelage and his ability to really understand the game. But Thiago wasn't simply one of Liverpool's most gifted midfielders. He was definitely, I think, football poetry. And everything he did looked effortless, the way it passed, the first touch, the ability to escape pressure. Watching Thiago play sometimes felt like, you ever see those kids that can do the Rubik's Cubes and can do them like really quickly?
Yeah. Oh, I hated that kids. I had a Rubik's Cube and it was hard, mate. They weren't easy then. I thought it was good and stuff and that, and then I got one of them, mate, and I was rubbish at it, and it frustrated me. I was like, do you know what I mean? I threw it away.
Exactly what you mean.
Or you could peel the stickers off and just put them over and look like you'd done
it.
Yeah. That's bad. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, as in, it's for some.
Well, I didn't actually do that, but I thought of it, because some people had done it, and it was a funny thing. Just take the stickers off and put them on in the right order, and it looks like you've solved the bloody thing.
This is a safe place. It's a safe place. You can admit it, but but seriously, it seems, though, that Thiago and coaching, most of us thought would make perfect sense, but Thiago himself poured some cold water on the speculation, not because he doesn't love Liverpool. I think he does, actually. I think out of all the places that he's played in some beautiful places. Barcelona, he's played obviously in Germany for Bayern Munich, and he's played for Liverpool. And out of all three of them, I think that one of the three that he holds closest to his heart has been Liverpool. And I mean, that's interesting because I'd say he probably played the least amount on the pitch here, yet obviously the city itself made themselves a part of his life. But and it's also not because Iriola's not interested in Thiago either, but it's because he simply doesn't have all the credentials to do so. He doesn't yet possess the coaching badges apparently required to hold that position. Now, I know some people might see that as a disappointing news. I do. I'm part of that crowd. But I actually saw something else, and I thought I saw some humility for him to come out and say that. Football often convinces us that greatness as a player automatically creates greatness as a coach. But I think history kind of tells us elsewise. You've got to go through the necessary steps. Just because you're a great player doesn't necessarily mean you just walk through the door as a coach. You could look at the likes of Diego Maradona, Wayne Rooney, Frank Lampard. You might even say Stevie G. But some have succeeded for periods. Some have struggled, and we all know that Alonso, Guardiola are all examples of that. I'm not going to use Arteta as an example, but they are all.
He just brings it down.
Yeah. But each one had to study, they had to learn, they had to fail, they had to adapt. They all had to do their thing. So I respect him for coming out and saying, that he wants to do the job, but he needs more time in getting the right badges and getting the right credentials to do so. So for now, for those that really even do care enough to watch his career after Liverpool, you'd have to stick with watching him on as a pundit. I don't know if you guys seen him, but he's actually been doing World Cup punditry.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen him.
No, I've not seen him yet. I'd love the idea of him coming back, because the type of player he was like, and all the good managers he plays under, including Klopp. And if we're going back to a more pressing style, but I respect that he's saying I want to get more badges first. So it's watch the space, isn't it, for this one? This could happen in the future if things go well for Iraola and he stays here, a number of years. Then maybe we could see Thiago at his side one day. I would love that. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
It was such a shame that the amount of injuries. Yeah, I was told that by a Bayern Munich fan in the comments section the day we bought him. I put mate up, and he went, listen, mate, he said he's a great player, but he is always injured. And I think he put always in capitals. So okay. But I mean, he got injured on his debut with Charleston. It was that same game when Pickford got Van Dijk, and then just to add insult to injury, with Charleston decided he was going to do Thiago, and we didn't see Thiago again 3 months after his debut.
That game was painfully painful game to watch, with the way that the referee allowed for some of those challenges and fouls to be committed and not be properly. I mean, I thought the foul on Thiago was not only an automatic red, but it was one of those 3-game red cards, because there was no intent to play the ball. There was it was every intent to hurt the player.
Well, it just rubbed salt in the wounds and added insult to injury, because Jordan Pickford didn't even get sent off for what he's done to Virgil, because it was offside, apparently, and I was like, "You what?" It
doesn't matter. But the thing about it is,
that to him, and should be off the pitch for it. So just added insult to injury. What Charleston done to Thiago later in the game.
I'll tell you what gives insult to injury is, one, the referee that was in the box for VAR, and then also, not only that, the referee that was in the box for VAR apparently admitted that he did not know that he could still be given a red card, despite him being offsides. That's insult to injury, when we have a referee recognizing that they made the mistake of not knowing that they could have given him a red card, but the reason why they didn't was because it was for a rule that they did not know about. Yeah,
they didn't know about it. Paul Tierney not thinking that it was a clear and obvious handball by Rodri that cheated us of the title in 2022. Would have been a domestic treble that season. Okay, we just maybe still lost in Paris. Or would we? If we'd have won the title, it might have given us that extra bounce to get over the line in Paris. We'll never know. But the apology, which was the first ever apology the PGMOL made, was the one for Rodri's handball. I mean, it would have to be a Goodison, just a stone's throw away from where it happened. Do you know what I mean? And that Paul Tierney, who apparently his brother is a season ticket holder at Man City, Tierney, and he represented Man City at youth level. Remember George Scott from Frank Carlisle's channel, JK?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
He used to play for Liverpool, yeah. Well, he told me that. He said Tierney's brother old season ticket at Man City, and Tierney represented Man City at youth level, apparently, when he was a kid, something, which, just... further muddied the waters, and made me think this stinks, this whole thing. I'm still so bitter about that.
Do you think elite footballers have an advantage in coaching, or do you believe a great manager requires an entirely different set of skills?
Like when you look at Jurgen Klopp, bro, he wasn't the greatest footballer out there.
No.
He was just a bog standard sort of player. He can play football, don't get me wrong, but he was a million times better football manager than he was a player. Where then you got some players who are the world's best footballers, but they can't get it right at management. So for me, it's all about the personality, bro. And
Hmm.
what way are you getting there? It's like the way Jurgen did Liverpool was for me the best way to do it. In the way he never caused no trouble. He never. It wasn't just drama, you know. It was just like we're here to win. Every game we played under Klopp, I thought we were going to win this game. And that is for me a top manager. When the fans believe that every time we're gonna play, we're gonna fucking win. So it's all about that, bro. The mentality side of football. Like I believe that us guys here together, if we had to go and do a job at Liverpool, for
Hmm.
example, we've got our UEFA badges and all this, that, and the other. It depends on which way you're going to look at it. Maybe us two will all do it differently, but I know the way I would do it. I wouldn't put them on a pedestal. You know, I'll give them their respect and stuff like that. But for me, I think footballers need to be brought down back to earth, sometimes by the manager, so they don't lose it in that high famous world of this, that, and the other. You know what I mean, bro? And I think that's the
Hmm.
job of the manager. And so to me, it depends on how strong the mentality of a manager is. And Jurgen Klopp is a great example of that. So it'd be good to see like how Alonso gets on at Chelsea, Thiago gets on, see if Stevie G gets back into the game because all three of them top footballers, bro. Better than Klopp, no problem about that. But Klopp's the man that managing him, bro. You know,
I would
so
say invariably, like top players that become managers don't become great managers. Like you've got Kenny Dalglish, Johan Cruyff, Pep Guardiola. To bring it up to date, they were elite players and became elite
yeah,
managers. But invariably, like it doesn't work if they bother trying at all. Which the greater majority of them don't bother trying being a coach. Like, but probably the more travelled path, like, is the one that like Klopp, Alex Ferguson, Mourinho, people like him, you know what I mean? That they were like nobody as players, like nobody knew who they were, but they became brilliant managers. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of them. You can never like just because someone was a good player, be like,
Okay.
oh, you'd be
I thought,
him. It's it's got little to do with it really when it comes to the changeover. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting one though.
but it's also it depends on how famous you was
okay.
as a footballer.
I thought,
Because if you're famous as a footballer like Steven Gerrard, everyone's watching you, whatever job you take. You know what I mean? And that's the
mhm,
problem. If you wasn't such a
mhm,
great footballer, then you end up going to Luton or a team like that in the lower leagues and stuff. No one really sort of looks at you and puts pressure on you because you're thinking, oh look, him. He used to play for Bradford and Everton. He's taken over at Stoke City now. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then fair play, he gets up there, tries to get in the Premier League and this, that, and the other. So it all depends
mhm.
on that player's expectations from the world around him. Steven Gerrard, everyone's thinking he's going to be the same manager as he was a player. He won a league title, bro, in Scotland, and then didn't really get a chance at Villa. So like, I don't understand all this noise about Steven Gerrard. I will never take Gerrard as Liverpool manager, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, why not? Like the guy's only had two jobs, and in one of them he won the fucking league. He's like an Arnie Slot, isn't
Mhm.
he? But
I
you know
mean,
what I
like
mean.
I get what you're saying too. I think more so in today's era of football, it's a lot harder to make that transition than it was in eras before. For some reason, I don't have the exact reasons why, but I mean, like I noticed that you guys. I know you probably didn't think of them or think to say it, but I mean, like we have possibly one of the best, one of the not we have one of the best great players to great managers in our history, and that's King Kenny. I mean, but he's also from an era where you could be a player manager, and that's something that you don't see in today's,
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
really anymore.
Oh, it's completely out of left field. You never seen it at all, hardly. And then all of a sudden, the biggest club in the country has a player manager. And
And that's it. He's the most
I
famous.
started going, mate, the season that he took over. That was the season I started going as a kid because I was old enough to go then with my friends on my own. And that was like my first season, was Kenny's first season. As boss, it was brilliant. And he was still dead good when he come on. Like he could turn games later on coming on. And he did in the League Cup semi-final against Southampton. The one when Paul Walsh chinned Kevin Bond because Kevin Bond spat at him. Kevin Bond was the son of ex-Man City manager John Bond, and he spat.
Right.
Oh, James's brother.
But
James's brother.
But you could also say, I mean, here's someone that JK would know a lot about, and that would be like Franz Beckenbauer. He was a great player. Went on to win the World Cup, with Germany as a coach. There was a couple other ones in my head. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane, obviously, great player. Great player in France, considered to be one of the greatest of all time. Goes on to Real Madrid and ends up winning, multiple Champions Leagues and multiple La Ligas. Maybe
But Kenny's the
even
one on it. Well, Kenny Dalglish, player, manager. He did the whole shebang, bro. Like, there should be a documentary about the most famous player manager ever, or a little thing done about Kenny Dalglish. Like, I remember them days when he was playing and being a manager and stuff.
I remember clearly.
I was gonna say Johan Cruyff.
Cruyff
as possibly a real contender for greatest of all time, considering a lot of what Pep Guardiola puts it out there, that a lot of his ideas and playing styles are from that manager himself.
Yeah, I would say Cruyff and Kenny were similar in some ways, like not really the way they moved, the way they took players on, or nothing like that, but their brain. Like there was similarities. And Bob Paisley obviously helped Kenny out when he started because he realised, Kenny could do it. So, Bob Paisley come in to back him up and give him a bit of advice, just a bit of moral support, and say, you're making the right decisions. And it all went splendidly.
Would you put would you put Ancelotti in there?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, he was a good player. Good player.
Right?
Yeah, good player. I remember him. Yeah, it's like when you look back and watch old ones now. Oh yeah, I remember that guy, like his face and that when he was young. But he made a really good. He's brilliant, isn't he, Ancelotti? I had a look there though yesterday against Norway. Haaland was class.
Would you even go as far as would you include because I saw him at the
No, forget him.
I was going to say would you include in that list maybe, because I saw him, it made me think about him, at least when I saw him at the game for Argentina. It reminded me that he was a great player for Argentina, but that is Simeone. Would you put Simeone in that list, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very good defensive midfielder, Simeone. We know what he was like. He was dirty sticks and all that crap. It was Beckham's fault for falling for it, the idiot. But he was a really good DM, Simeone, and he's made a great manager, hasn't he?
We can maybe do a show on that or something. Maybe we'll do a show on
the thing with Alex Ferguson,
because I know Xabi Alonso is being thrown in there by Hyler. I don't know if I put Xabi Alonso as a great manager just yet. Great player, incredible accomplishment. Xabi Alonso, I would say, needs one or two more accomplishments before I'm putting him in the same breaths as those other managers I mentioned earlier.
He's done the same as what Gerrard's done when you look at it. Played a good season, won a league, and sort of moved on that. But for me, Enrique at PSG, good little player.
Yeah, Jose Enrique, definitely. Yeah. Good shout. Very good shout. Maybe even
remember Jose Enrique, the one who played for us? What was his name? Enrique? I chat to him on TikTok sometimes. Like, yo, peace, bro. And he's like, hey, Kismet. He likes his game.
I like
his game.
Yeah. He got into he enjoyed playing for us. Like, it wasn't a great time for Liverpool while he was here, like, but he did well, and he was, because we've been through a lot of left backs, and he did well when he was for Jose. I liked him, yes.
I liked him as well.
Now, talking about managers, with Ferguson, I believe it was injury curtailed him a lot, because Kenny was kind enough to say that Fergie wasn't too bad a striker, like, before injury done him in. But Roy Evans was like that. He got injured, and then, you know, he's just become a coach. Do you know what I mean? Quite quickly, like, while he was still of playing age, Roy Evans in the back room. But Fergie, I liked that when I read Kenny's autobiography. The foreword was by Fergie saying, "Oh, people think me and Kenny don't get on, but we do." And I saw that I could never warm to Alex Ferguson, like, but I warmed slightly. The temperature rose a little bit when I read that him and Kenny get on all right, which they do apparently. You know what I mean? They're both Rangers guys from when they were little and all that, like, even though Kenny played for Celtic. But but he made one hell of a manager anyway, Ferguson, whatever injury he did to his playing career.
I was gonna say maybe even shout out to Poch. I'll put Poch in there too. He's a really good coach so far. Maybe we can make greatness soon enough. Maybe he can achieve greatness soon enough. Who knows? If he were to bring a title to, if you were to bring a World Cup to America, I think that would be possibly one of the greatest accomplishments of any coach.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. If that, it's a Vic, though, but yeah.
Jeez. Anyway, I'm about to land this cheese.
Trump's going to bring Alexi Lalas back. He's like,
you might be grabbing your parachute, man. You know, you're grabbing your parachute. Not just joking. All right. Well, one thing remains true: football never stops producing new leaders. And over the weekend, England may have found another leader or another one. Let's head to Mexico City, because I don't know if you've ever experienced the Estadio Azteca. I haven't personally, but I do know from those that have gone to Azteca, it's difficult to explain what it represents. I mean, you just witnessed one, because I don't know if they're going to knock it down and then build a new one right there, but I think this is the last year after the World Cup. I don't think Azteca will be, it's like the last bit of it being around is Azteca. Okay. So, but Estadio Azteca is not simply a football stadium. It's a monument. I mean, there's a lot of history there. Legends have played there. World Cups have been won there. Dreams have been created there. Dreams have been destroyed there too. Now imagine walking into that environment wearing an England shirt, more than 80,000 supporters. Obviously everyone's watching every touch of the ball, or you get read about whistles and the Mexican attack shaking the stadium. And despite that, the high altitude's got your lungs burning, your legs growing heavier by the minute. That's what England walked into. And yet they walked out victorious. And Jude Bellingham scored twice. Harry Kane found the net once in that PK. Obviously, Kwanzaa got a red card. But those aren't actually the stories that I was going to focus on. I think the real story is mentality for England. Championship teams don't always play beautiful. And I mean by teams that win trophies don't always play beautifully. Sometimes it's simply survive, like you bend but don't break, And I think England did exactly that. There were moments when Mexico looked, I thought, capable of turning that match completely around. Mm-hmm. The crowd believed, the stadium believed. So you had a whole country basically believing so much that you could feel the energy. but or maybe that's, I don't know. At least that's how I look at it. But finding ways to win imperfect matches, Jude Bellingham continues proving why many people believe he's destined to become one of football's defining figures.
Yeah, well, I thought he stepped up. Sorry to go over there. Jude stepped up in the final group game when we needed someone, and he did that. And then he was good again last night. Took on the responsibility of being the best player probably in the England team, playing at the highest level. So yeah, it was all good. I couldn't help laughing last night. They kept Mexico had a player called Alvarado, but to my drunken ears, every time the commentator said it, it sounded like El Dorado, which is the mythical city of gold, and also Mexico's
TV program, Lee.
Yeah, Mexico's boss is also called Aguirre, like the Werner Herzog film Aguirre, the Portuguese conquistador that goes to South America to find cities of gold. So that just humoured me that he kept saying what sounded like El Dorado all night, the fella. But then I found out it was Alvarado. But interesting anyway.
No, Dusty Ben.
Gold. It was a bloody myth. Can't believe anyone else.
Laugh at Dusty Ben now, man.
What did you think? Did you think that that was a? Do you think that this is Jude's, coming out party? I guess you could say. There's no bigger. I mean, it's one thing. It's all well and good to win win La Liga with Real Madrid, but he's on a global. They say, what is it, like 1.5 billion people watch the World Cup, or at least that was like the opening match was 1.5 billion. Who knows how many people watched last night's match for England and Mexico. I'm sure even more will watch whatever game is ahead. Or actually, you know what? The next game ahead of England is Norway. So I'm sure you'll have a big outpouring in that game too. Do you think Jude has really made an announcement that this is his announcement to the world that he's stepping out?
Yeah, he started the sentence. He started the sentence like, and he can finish the sentence with extra performances like of announcing. I mean, I'm pleased for him. Like, I believe he's a bit of a difficult character, but that makes no difference to me. Like, I don't give a shit about that. I just want to see players play well. I mean, I haven't really followed his Madrid career that like intently. I've seen him. Obviously, we played them a few times, and he's played against us. Sort of watched them in other games. But he's doing really well, and he is stepping up, or he's beginning to. He's starting that journey off, like of being England's best player.
How about for you, JK?
Yeah, I think without him in that team, I don't think there's anyone else capable to do. Maybe Rodgers could do a little bit. Rodgers is not as good as Bellingham for me. But, yeah, man, Bellingham, fair play to him. He just stepped up, and him and Kane are sort of the main goal threats for England. Everyone else does their jobs, you know what I mean? But Bellingham, fair play, man. He's got a bit of snap in him as well. So, but he's he seems a good lad. He's like respectful and that. I've seen a few little clips of this, that, and that. He talked to a disabled guy and stuff. Everyone else had ignored him, but he took time out to just talk to him and stuff. I was like, fair play, man.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the transfer news, Helio. Wicked.
Yeah, Everton making moves there. That'll please me out, fella. If the move comes out, probably do well for Everton. Everton are quite good at identifying players who can't get in the team at bigger clubs and having them off, snaffling them. So it might work out for them, see how things go for them. He's definitely made them better, Moyes. They're better than they were under Dyche.
But I think Everton got a lot of transfers wrong as well over the years. When you look at Liverpool, for me, they're the best at it. A lot of our players always smash it. Everton bought a lot of players over the years, and some of them like, yo, what? Like, they haven't been great and stuff. So, but I think that lad, what's his name? The winger who plays for Everton. the one from Burnley.
Die. Oh no,
No.
Tyler Dibbling. They've got who else?
You got
They
Tyler Dibbling
bought
in there.
someone else from Burnley. Have they? Yeah, they bought someone.
No. The one they bought from Burnley, this like a winger lad, McNeil. Yeah, he's going as
It's
well.
right, McNeil. Yeah, it's right. McNeil's decent. Yeah, so
He's
is
decent, but he's
Ndai.
leaving.
Ndai's been a really good buy because he didn't cost a lot. Ndai. And Tyler Dibbling, it remains to be seen. But, like, yeah, he's made some good moves. I knew it'd be a good thing for them to get Moyes back. I didn't want it because I don't want things to go particularly well for Everton. But I knew it'd be a good move for them to bring Moyes back. And, you know, he has improved them. Like, he's made the derbies that little bit more difficult. Like.
I've heard, Norman, it's the German FA. They're trying to sort that out. Oh. Too funny.
Well, do you think that England now are the genuine World Cup favorites?
Oh no. I think France for me are the favorites. Because when you look at the other teams, really, who else is there that's scary? England could beat France in the final. But Spain today, I don't think Spain have conceded a goal in this World Cup yet. And that's with a guy like Cucurella.
Yeah, but they haven't necessarily. Spain hasn't been playing well at all. I don't think Spain's been playing that well.
They haven't, bro. You know what? They lacked like Arrasabal scored 4 goals, but they're missing like a Torres, number 9, Spanish. You know, like Spain used to have the best number 9s, bro. They ain't got that no more for some reason. It's weird.
David Villa, Torres, right? They always have forwards, didn't they? Like, well, not always. I remember Spain before they were that good internationally, like, and yeah, but like in recent times, like, you know, they've had a lot of good players to pick from in all forward positions, like. But they were strong enough to see Portugal off, like, even though it was a tough game for them and it took all night to get past them. They were strong enough to do that. But with Brazil going out, I mean, Brazil's out now, Germany's out.
A lot of top dogs out.
If Morocco could knock France out, that would maybe open it up for England a bit, or for anyone, basically for anyone else. If Morocco could knock France out.
Yeah, I think if like for me, that Rafa lad who's got 4 goals, don't get me wrong, but when I noticed the game today, there was not a focal point like a number 9, you know, like a guy who's just there and you know he's there. That lad didn't give me that vibe. So for me, that could be their weak spot. I don't know. They just didn't look dangerous, Spain. Yamal, not great, just running around and stuff.
No, the Spain national side was something of an embarrassment to the Spaniards for the longest time, you know, until they actually won something. And, like, look, England have only ever won one thing, but, like, it was ages ago, like, that makes it better. We got there first. But, do you know what I'm saying? Spain were tough, really, at international level years ago. They were no great shakes, were they? Like, they were never going to win anything, like, years ago, Spain. They always had good players, maybe a bit ill-disciplined at times and tactically naive, I would say, years ago, Spain. But it's a different kettle of fish now, isn't it, like, with the Spain national side?
I think ever since they won that Euro title, I think has been different. The one with where Torres won with them. That one.
I liked that one because Torres got a good look in there. Because I still was happy for him, even though he left for Chelsea, which really done me head in. But, like, I accepted it because it was a lot of money. So I was pleased for him that he got that one in the Euros because he was good in that. Like, he helped them out, didn't he? I mean, as he did Chelsea. Chelsea would never have won the 2012 Champions League if he didn't get them through the semi against Barcelona and to the final against Munich.
Yeah, Andy, bless up Roberto Martinez. 2 big teams, Belgium and Portugal, top players, and he ain't done nothing with them again. Like, who's this guy's agent, man?
Well, for me, in terms of on the eye, Martinez as Everton were the best Everton of recent years. It's about 10 years ago now he was there, Martinez. Around the time Brendan was here, but like they were a decent side to watch then. Everton, they had Lukaku on loan, and Lukaku was at his best, I think, on the Everton loan. That's the best I ever saw of him in the Premier League. But that was not a bad Everton side. That on the eye, they actually played football rather than just like defending and shit like we used to now.
Yeah, look at that lineup of French players. Great.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could say that. Not all. I had this conversation with my friend. What's the unique thing about discussing football with people here on the side of the pond is you're discussing it sometimes with people that really never took an interest in the sport, or not necessarily a deep interest in the sport. And you're discussing things and you're maybe getting the opportunity to not only enlighten, but not only explain, but maybe even enlighten people with certain aspects, or at least theories or perspectives, angles. And I was saying how, one thing I know that is all well and good with a lot of these players. You just listed all those players for France, but I'm like, there was something that Mourinho said one time, and I was very interested in. I know he got a lot of flack for saying it, but I also understood what he was trying to imply by it. And the comment that he made, I'll paraphrase, was that it was requiring players to play for their countries of birth, their countries of origin of birth, not necessarily the countries that they've, moved on to or are now citizens of, but necessarily their countries of birth was something. And why he made that comment was because if you look at France is a fantastic team, absolutely incredibly well put together team. However, if you look at how many actual African players, originated players are on that French team would be constructed very differently if it wasn't for the, some of these players that are French technically, but were born in other countries. And it's kind of like the reasons why I'm happy to have seen Africa do as well as they have in this World Cup. But it also makes you think, if they had the talents of those players that have gone on to really be corner pieces in these other European teams, where and how much further could some of these European or these African teams possibly go?
Yeah, like Doué's brother plays for Ivory Coast.
Right.
Yeah, and Doué, the other one lad, plays for France, and he's a pretty good little player. But he chose Ivory Coast, bro. So respect to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, France, I was a bit unkind to them about their national sides before the modern era. In that, like the late 70s, early 80s, France side was good with Platini, Giresse, Rossito, players like that. But they still had, even then, they had like Jean Tigana and Marius Trésor was their sweeper. So they still had like African heritage players then, even back then. But like, obviously it's less like. But it was a good team, that French team. Like, but I mean, they've got an embarrassment of riches now. To use the phrase, like, it's just so strong in all areas, their squad. You can't see many weaknesses in their squad. So it's going to take some performance to knock them out. Whoever knocks them out is going to have to earn it. Morocco, chance. They got a chance. I mean, Norway last night, I thought Norway had a small chance, but they went about their task of knocking Brazil out really well. I was impressed with Norway. Very impressed.
I think Spain with Haaland would be champions. Yeah.
Okay.
Because think about it, bro. Spain ain't conceded a goal. They just need a goal scorer. Like, yeah, Rafael's got 4 goals, I understand, but he don't give me that striker vibes there. But if Haaland played for Spain, bro, oof, they'd be a tough cookie to beat. But fair play to Norway, they're doing well.
This was originally Jose Mourinho's suggestion to FIFA. He said Jose Mourinho suggested that FIFA should ban African players from representing any country other than their nation of origin. He argued that the rule would stop top African talent from playing for European nations, ensuring that African countries become highly competitive and have a realistic chance of winning the World Cup. While discussions on certain platforms might see it as it highlights that such a rule raises complex issues about dual citizenship and players born in Europe. And Mourinho has maintained that Africa has equal talent and that restricting players to their homelands would make international tournaments fairer and more competitive, in his opinion.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
me, bro,
he's entitled to say that, isn't he? I mean, I think he's entitled to say that. It poses a lot of difficult questions that football probably wouldn't want to go near now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I just can't see it happening, to be honest.
And also, look at Declan Rice, bro. He's the best example for me. He's an Irish lad. His ancestry, his like family or whatever it is, but he chose England, and since he's chosen England, he's become like a pin-up boy, poster boy for him. Like he's the main man, he's the engine in the middle of the park, and this, that, and the other. And he's thinking, I wouldn't have probably got that big move to Arsenal if I didn't choose England. And that's what a lot of modern day football players will do. And I think, yeah, fair enough, Mourinho's right about that. But a lot of these guys, like Doué could have played for Ivory Coast like his brother, but he chose France, bro. Why the perks, whatever it is,
I think the rule used to be one grandparent, so like the Ireland team that got to the 1990 World Cup, you had like Ray Houghton from Glasgow, Aldridge from Liverpool, Mick McCarthy was the captain, he's a Yorkshireman. And so on and so forth. Like, there weren't that many. There's about half and half. I think half of them were born in Ireland and the others were born in England or Scotland or something, but could still represent Ireland due to the one grandparent rule. Yeah.
No, I love the origin, and I will talk about. I don't want to bury my lead too much for one of the stories I have, or one of the segments I have coming up. But the origin of Balogun, for instance, is he was born in Brooklyn. His family had him when he was in Brooklyn, New York. Then they obviously moved to England. However, it wasn't that his parents were American citizens. I don't think his parents are American citizens. I think it was more so his parents happened to have him when they were in America.
Yeah. With all due respect to Balogun, it's not probably looked upon the same way, about him. America have like nabbed him and that and took him away from England because he probably wouldn't have got picked for England. Do you know what I mean? So it's been a good one for him. But yeah, like you were saying about what Mourinho says about like a lot of the talent coming out of Africa and not being in their national sides, like I can see why he said that, but as he said, it's just too hot a potato for football to go near that one, like. But
I know it's a very difficult. I know it's a very sensitive subject. I know.
Zidane's son's playing for isn't Zidane's son a goalie and he's playing for someone.
So. Yeah, no, I get it. I know. Again, all right. Well, let's land in New Jersey, my home state, and we'll land in Newark. I know some people are like, well, if you're going there, why aren't you landing in New York? And that's because New York is easy because you don't have to pay for the tolls. Tolls are expensive nowadays to get over. I forget how when I was living there, it was expensive. I can only imagine what the tolls are now. How much are the tolls to get into New York City? I know they're over. Yeah, they're over like $20. Yeah, it's $23 to get into. So every time you go in, you're paying $23 just to go to New York, just to drive your car into New York. You're paying $23.
What a joke! What are you paying road tax for?
it adds up pretty quick. And that's not even you getting out of your car. That's just you, driving, going in the, on the tunnel or on the George Washington Bridge or something. Or all right, yeah. Big up, big up. We got Nalante in the house. Big up, Nalante. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. Tough. Big up yourself, Lee. Big up as always, Lee.
Commiserations on the Colombia result. You did prophesy
Yeah,
to lose that one.
I wasn't even going to bring that up, but go ahead.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Lee. Yeah, you just know it, and yeah, it was just pathetic, to be honest. I mean, the left have said more. Colombia. I got a Colombian friend, so we were talking during the game, but yeah, it was pathetic, man. We didn't even give a try. Even Cape Verde had more of an effort than us. It's pathetic, to be honest, but it is what it is. But that negative manager, Queiroz, man, horrible manager. But yeah,
It was possibly, unfortunately, one of the. I was watching the Asian Reds. They did a watch along, and oh my goodness, they couldn't stop the yelling out how bad of a game it was, and blah blah blah, how boring it was, and boring. Unfortunately, I kind of agree with a lot of what they have to say. It wasn't exactly the most scintillating football out there. I would say that.
No. It wasn't. But again, most of the games have been boring. Round 16, Brazil and Norway weren't that great. To at the end, Portugal, Spain wasn't great, and they've got
great.
Yeah, and they've got more better players, both teams. So
I think
but England was great.
You know what I think too?
Yeah,
unfortunately, I was going to say, unfortunately, for a lot of cases, when you get to rounds like this, teams play less and less open football. Like as in they get a little bit more conservative rather than continuing to just go out and play, expansive, let's just go out there and go forward type football. Because it's like it's one and done. So it's one of those cases where you're like, okay, we want to make sure that we're, organized, compact, and conservative with our approach, as opposed to like just going out there and it's somewhat like as in it was that's why watching the England Mexico game was somewhat of a treat, because I thought that you did get a little bit of that, you did get a little bit of like some drama, some real back and forth action. Like you thought maybe, okay, when they went down to 10 men, you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they're really going to be compact and not really like do anything. And they're just going to be all defense. And, they made Mexico have to work for the opportunities that they got still. So it is a case. But I mean, it's like, that's why, like, if you've noticed, the games that had the bigger names, like the bigger names associated to them, like your Ghana, Colombia, or, obviously your Spain, Portugal, those have been more of the boring games. As opposed to Argentina, Cape Verde. Those were like more of the entertaining games. You got teams that are going out there and really playing, really getting into it, That's just my perspective, at least. I don't know what you guys are talking about in the chat. I've lost it already. But before we move on to New Jersey, did you want to comment, Nalante, on? I know it was a very sensitive topic, so if you don't want to comment on it, it's okay. But we know you're a very highly intellectual person, so you can sometimes say things that we can learn from, and also since you do have African, you have direct African roots. And what I brought up earlier was the comment that Mourinho had made. I'll repeat what he said he suggested FIFA should ban African players from representing any country other than their nation of origin. He argued that the rule would stop top African talent from playing for European nations, ensuring that African countries become highly competitive and have a realistic chance of winning the World Cup. Do you think that he's onto something? Do you agree with that, or?
I mean, yeah, that would help, but again, it's very hard. It is what it is, isn't it? Because if a person's born somewhere and you got for instance, again, like Cameroon descent, but they're born in like Mbappe or whatever. Well, not both his parents. I don't think, but let's just say, I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think of someone for an example. Let's just say Manuel Coney. I don't know where he.
Or I was going to say, how about Oh, it was just mentioned in the chat too. Red Archer supporters mentioned him. Hold on a second. I think it was a great example. Hold on a second. Let me see. 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. It's not Yaya Toure. I'm trying to think of who it was though. He who was the guy in the Coppish he's French player, and who was Crystal Palace's coach?
Elise?
No, the coach.
Oh, you mean Vieira? You mean Patrick Vieira?
Yeah, Patrick Vieira. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Patrick Vieira. He was born in Senegal, but emigrated to France, and then obviously became a world-renowned player for France as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, for me, I get it. You've been brought up near enough there, but I just don't like it to a sense, because some of them, again, for me, a lot of these people, they only give back to their country until when everything has gone their way. For instance, in France, etc. I hate that. I don't like that. Just play for the country. Look, if you were born there in that country, then yes, technically, yeah. So you've got the option. Fair enough. But again, I just think some people just take advantage of being for bigger clubs, man. Just play. Just play. Look at George Weah. Yeah, of course, in the hindsight, in a wonderful world, yeah, Libya will be in the World Cup stage, but he stuck with his country through thick and thin. Or some of these players, and they'll give it the old, I'm proud of my roots, but I was born but it washes. So yeah, I think it would help, but then again, I might be a bit of a hypocrite because some of the smaller nations, I want to be small, like a Curacao, for instance, or something like that, smaller nations, then I think some of them you can make an exception, because at the end of the day, they're never going to reproduce world-class players, and for some of them it's hard to get a team. So let's just say they're nationalized for 10 years out the rule, then I think for the little clubs you make an exception. But when you get to the teams that who can produce certain players, then yeah, I think there should be a stoppage for me. And like someone said, I think I was watching Instagram, and again, you're gone. Sorry.
I was gonna say I was gonna just bring up another example, so that just came to my mind. Raheem Sterling, played exceptional for England.
Yeah.
Born in Kingston, Jamaica.
Yeah.
I know that's not African country, but I'm just saying, like, for either you're just talking because you're talking about the little countries.
I think Barnsley was born in Jamaica. I don't think he was born in England. Barnsley, I think he was born in Jamaica.
Born over there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He came over, I think when he was he 10 or something like that?
Yeah, when he's a little boy, like,
Yeah. So it's I'm a bit. Yeah,
too. He was born in Kingston as well. Yeah.
Kingston.
Did you see that? Sorry, did you see that thing yesterday? That Liverpool FC YouTube channel, they had like Barnsley. It was 100 greatest Liverpool players. Barnsley was in the studio, and they're Sammy Lee and someone else, and like a few like people like I think what's his name? A few people off YouTube as well, like that Chloe off Redman, and Paul Joyce, is it that guy? He's like what you call it, journalist. They have people like that on it. And it was quite good. I was watching it for a while. It was good. It was good to see Barnsley, because Barnsley features high for me in our best players, because he was exciting. Like what I did say, made sure I put this in. Barnsley excited me more than Aaron Rush. Aaron Rush was the benefactor of Barnsley's wizardry once he came back from Juventus. But Barnsley was the one who excited me, him and Beardsley together. So like he's right up there in my favourite Liverpool. It's always personal, isn't it? Like who your personal favourites are over the years. It's personal to you. It's the age you was as well at that time. Because like we didn't really have a winger before that. We played with wide midfielders, Ronnie Whelan on the left, Craig Johnson on the right. We weren't as exciting to watch and overnight like when Barnes and Beardsley, Houghton and Aldridge too, come in that summer. It was just a different ball game, and I was just the right age to like, you know, love it to death. Like I think it was, and 14 that season, and it would have been 15 at the end of the season. But it was a joy to watch that season, the football, and John was the main reason for that.
There was one other topic that we touched on before we enter, since we got the car parked, or got the G6 parked in New Jersey here. We spoke about Jude. I thought it was very interesting. I'll show this real quick clip of the picture that I saw here that made me think about this. But there was a time when it was said, Tuchel believes squad harmony is crucial to England's World Cup chances, but starman Bellingham has proved he is diverse and petulant. The obvious solution, leave Jude at home, was what the tabloids were saying on your side of the pond. Fortunately for, I guess, most, that wasn't taken up to be the reality. He certainly has emerged as one of the dominant players on the English side. What do you think about Jude's emergence? Did you want to comment on that before we move on to this one particular player?
To say on that thing, I said earlier, didn't I? I don't give a shit what type of person he is. It doesn't make any difference to me as long as he produces on the pitch. If he's a little bit like, arrogance or something, so what? Like, he's a good player. Like, shut up about it. Like, I just enjoy him scoring goals like the one he scored last night. I don't know where that crap come from. The tabloids are like comics anyway. You might as well buy the Beano or some shit, you know what I mean? They're just like ridiculous, them newspapers.
Did you want to say something real quick, Levante? To that, or no? You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay. Well, I'll leave with that. Okay.
No. But it just shows what things can change within the space of a month or 2 months or this or day or week. People can hear it. But what I will say is one thing that, again, likely I agree. The one thing I will say is, which I saw a little clip, which I kind of respect him for this. I think there was a Spanish disabled fan in the mix zone. He wanted to get a quick interview of all the players, some of the England players, and they kind of bypassed him. Now, maybe it wasn't bad disrespect. Maybe it's just they've had enough of interviews or they had to go somewhere. So I won't say anything about that. But Jude stopped by and had a chat with him. He had the interview with him. Obviously, he's in Spanish. Obviously, his Spanish is good. So I kind of big him up for that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the reason why I stopped in New Jersey is because, or had the plane stop in New Jersey, is because the end of, I think, possibly the end of Brazil's golden generation has just, one of the last components of that might have just happened, because this isn't simply about Brazil. This is about, growing up, I thought Brazil was beyond just another football nation. Like, as in, there's countries when you dealt with football, but there are countries like Brazil that are just different settings when you're talking about football. The history alone is incredible, but the players and the style, Romario, Pele, Zico, Bebeto, Ronaldo, obviously, Rivaldo. So many R's actually. I just realized that. Ronaldinho.
There's other great nations that have had so many good players, but not as many as Brazil. They are the premier name in international football, just the premier name in football for the country is Brazil, and always has been in my lifetime anyway. Because I mean, they were dead good before I was born. At their best, and probably then, as I was born, but they were just an amazing team to watch. Like the 82 one that didn't win it, that Italy mugged. Paolo Rossi mugged them, but that was such a good team. Zico, Socrates, and all them blokes. Aldair. It is the football country, in it. Like really,
it is.
Has been.
But you know why I'm saying this is because it seems like, and this is where the perspectives of you three I'd like to definitely hear, and you in the chat as well. And again, if you're on X, put your comment in X. I will see it, and I'll do my best to make sure that it gets read out so that everyone in YouTube world can see it as well. But it seemed like with Brazil, it seemed like every generation handed the torch to the next generation after it. Like as in it seemed that way. Then came Neymar, obviously a teenager from Santos. He carried almost impossible expectations placed on him because he was looked at automatically as being someone with the talents of a Pele and all those other greats that I spoke on earlier. Because that's what people want. They want another Pele. They want another Ronaldo or another Ronaldinho. I think he's closer to Ronaldinho than he is Pele, but still the same. That's just my opinion. But I mean, you can imagine carrying all those hopes of an entire football nation on your back, and most players would collapse under that weight. Neymar, I don't think did. He still went on and played great in Spain. He still went on and played and won titles in France, but his career somewhat sputtered out a little bit, going on to obviously Saudi Arabia, then coming back and playing in Brazil, his home country. He's definitely entertained. He's frustrated people. He's inspired people. He's divided opinion. I'll say that for the most. But for over a decade, whenever Brazil walked onto the pitch, the first question everyone asked about was, how do we stop Neymar? And for one of the first times in a World Cup, that wasn't the question. That was different for me. It was unfortunate to see him get an injury. He came back. He still looked a little bit off step. He ended up scoring a goal, which is awesome because he ends up being able to say he's the oldest Brazilian to ever score in a World Cup. Okay. But I'm going to ask you guys, who's next? Like, who is next? Now, who replaces Neymar?
Good question. I felt sorry for him at the end when he was in tears because it was his last chance. Felt sorry for the lad. I didn't like him loads because his histrionics and his gesticulating to referees, and that was a bit strong for me at times in a Richarlison way. But there's no denying the talent. That's why I couldn't warm to him as a player, because of the shenanigans he got up to, like. But such a great player, like, and I did feel for the lad, like, because it was his last chance, wasn't it? And he's been such a good player. Yeah, I don't know who's taking the mantle up from him now. They'll find someone. They always do, Brazil. I don't know if Carlos is going to stay or what.
Yeah, is that player Vinicius Jr.? Is it Rodrigo? Is it Endrick? Is it Estavio? I just don't necessarily see someone from that Brazil camp that has that level of talent, or that obvious level of talent where you're like, he is going to carry that. That's why I said the carrying, the passing the torch. I mean, there was exactly that in so many eras of Brazilian football. But I don't know if it exists right now at the moment. They've got good players. Don't get it twisted. They've got some very, very good players.
Maybe one way to look at it, if you compare them to France, France have an embarrassment of riches in all positions, pretty much
Mhm.
like, but Brazil don't anymore. And that's the shift, the balance in power, maybe like.
I just don't know who becomes that player, because there's so much that goes along with being just not only the best player in Brazil, but also there's just the sheer magnifying glass that's on you, on everything you do. I get that Neymar has done some questionable things in his life, but that's just being a human being. But at the very same time, you know, you could argue that he is the last great player that you've seen Brazil really put out there on a world level. Vinny Jr. is a great player. I get that, but I don't see Vinny Jr. in the same light as I see a Neymar.
My
Maybe.
favourite Brazilian, probably in my lifetime, was Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo Nazario. He was just something else, mate, just something extra, something different. There was nothing like him, was there? Like, he was just, he had everything. He had absolutely everything. But like the ones, because I grew up watching videos of the old Brazil on VHS, like anyone my age did, like, and you can see all the great players from the past and that. But in my lifetime, yeah, it was the original Ronaldo. He was like the best Brazilian player. I like Rivaldo as well, but it's the explosiveness of Ronaldo and Nazario that I loved. It's just like.
But then, how about this, Lee? I'm going to ask Lee you first, since you're the one that's actually engaging. And then hopefully Nalante and JK will join this convo. Looking back on Neymar's international career, not his club career, just his international career, where do you rank him among Brazil's greatest players?
What honours has he got? What's he won with Brazil?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that the Argentinian fans weren't that big a fan of Messi, a lot of them, until he won the World Cup in Qatar. Because that was news to me. Brian, so on Brian's stream, he said about it, like, and said, no, they always had to, like, said that he doesn't do it for Argentina like he does for bloody, his club team and all this one, like, but hard to please, aren't they? Like, some fans are bloody hard to please, aren't they?
He has won something with Brazil, but he didn't, maybe nothing of.
You mean the Olympic gold medal?
Incredible, notable medal. He won a gold medal.
Gold medal,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not on him, really, is it? Like, they're just not as strong as they have been in other times, and
and he won.
Really, like,
he won
Confederations Cup.
Confederations Cup, because that was the one, I think that's the one America was in. So
yeah, there's still good tournaments to get to get a medal in. Like, you've got to beat a lot of teams to get to the silverware. Like, it's not like he hasn't done anything in a Brazil shirt; just hasn't been lucky enough to win the World Cup. He has had the Copa America, though, has he? Has he won that?
No, he hasn't. When they won it, he was injured.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you would have thought he would have won that as well, but no.
Yeah, I must say, Haaland was good last night in his 2 goals. You can criticise the Brazilian defence if you please, like, but he was just those goals were really good. Where the header, he's hard to stop when he's doing them. Gets to it first, like, game over. Alisson had no chance, like, for the header, and he had no chance for the other one because it went through Gabriel's legs, didn't it? Do you know what I mean? That blinded him, like, and by the time he'd made his dive, like, it was past him.
Are you going as far as saying what Trudon says on Nalante? That Neymar is a flop?
Or for Brazil?
I don't know if he means just for Brazil. I think he means in general he's a flop. So I wouldn't go. I don't think someone that's won, Champions Leagues and has won La Ligas and
I wouldn't say he's a flop, but I just say he could have done so much better.
Yeah, definitely not a
Same
Oh,
flop.
for
Brazil.
That's
Yeah, that's what I
that's
said.
about it.
Brazil. It's a difficult one because 2014 he was killing it, and then he got injured, and again he's not it's not his fault. His teammates just kind of flopped against Germany in the
Yeah, I was gonna say.
semi-final. So it's just more injury in it, yeah. And then other times he just hasn't been with it. So yeah, it's a difficult one. Depends how you look at it. It really
You
does.
want to? Let me show you some. I'll include some stats here. Hold on.
Yeah.
I think it is fair to say like he could have reached like he had more potentials, like say it that way. You know what I mean? That he could have reached bigger heights, higher heights. But like he's still a brilliant player and by no means a flop. Like I don't know what standards that he'd be a flop by. Like I'd hate to see a real flop if he is a flop.
Oops. Let me make sure I got this right. That's that one. There is this one. And then there is this one. That's big enough. So when it comes to Neymar, Neymar has the most goals scored in the history of the national team of Brazil. He's scored 80 goals for the national team. When it comes to Neymar, he has the most assists in the history of the national team. Okay. He's assisted on 59 goals. He's also got the most goal contributions in the history of the national team, 139 goal contributions. He's also got the most goals scored in World Cup qualifiers in the history of the national team with 16 goals. It's something of, I think that there's other components. It's not that, I mean, like, I think he's a great player. I just think that Brazil has underwhelmed, I think, as a team, as opposed to Neymar has underperformed as an individual player in the international realm. That's just my opinion. Everyone's welcome to their own. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Like
No,
for
I
me,
agree with
bro.
that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Neymar. I never have been. He's a good footballer. Don't get me wrong on that. But at the end of the day, Salah is probably our Neymar. Most goals, most assists, and all this sort of stuff, stats wise. But he won a few trophies. But Neymar's won a few trophies, like regarding club wise. But Brazil, not so great. And I think Brazil, like you're saying there, when I look at that Brazil team, Paqueta, Bruno Guimaraes, these guys will never get a look in the old days. These guys would be probably seen in the changing rooms, bro. Let's be real now. These guys would nowhere be starting for Brazil in the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
It's as simple as that. Who else is on there? Even like their forward line, they had that guy from Brentford who came out of nowhere.
Cunha.
Yeah. And they had Cunha as well. Cunha's not a bad player, but he's never better or Mario.
I forgot. He's also most times winning the Golden Samba Award in the history of the nation's team, 6 times. He's got
I think
best player in the 2013-15 FIFA Confederations Cup, best player in the 2016 Olympics, last to win the Confederation Cup for Brazil in 2013, first player in the history of the national team to win an Olympic gold medal for Brazil in 2016, last to win the under 20 Copa America for Brazil. He was the runner-up in the 2012 Olympics. He was the runner-up in the 2021 Copa America, semifinalist in the 2014 World Cup, quarterfinals in the 2018 World Cup, quarterfinals in the 2022 World Cup. Obviously, this 2026 World Cup was his worst, being a round of 16. And third most goals by a Brazilian in World Cup history for the national team with 8 goals, only behind Ronaldo and Pele, despite participating in only 3 World Cups. Third most goal contributions by a Brazilian in World Cup history for the national team with 13 contributions. That is only behind, again, Ronaldo and Pele.
No, he had high hopes attached to him and that, like, for the Brazil national sides because he was such a spectacularly gifted footballer. I mean, I don't think he was ever like a junior partner in that Messi, Suarez, and Neymar threesome. Like, he was every bit the player Messi was, like, in that side. Done as well. You know, to me, watching it anyway, like, it's just, yeah, maybe he could have been a little reached bigger heights or something. Like, that's all you could throw at him. Like, you could never say the guy was like a flop or anything. The idea to me is a bit daft.
I agree with what Trudon said about like he didn't really reach levels. When he went to PSG, that was the end for me as well. Yeah, he weren't the same after that move. And he went downhill after that.
Yeah, because the level he was at went down because the French league has been made the way it has by PSG. There's the level of competition there was in the Liga. So obviously his game depreciated a bit, and that will have, you know, not helped him for the international side.
Well, I'll move on to someone that's uniquely, you know, won Ballon d'Ors, and he has won titles with teams in the Premier League and also in La Liga. And it's a player that maybe some of us don't necessarily like, but I actually saw some stuff about Ronaldo that I can appreciate. And I'll go as far as to say, you know, every generation has players. Every few generations produce players of the status of Cristiano Ronaldo. I'll admit that. But is this all or nothing? There's arguments about when Messi won the World Cup, he separated himself in that argument of who was better, Ronaldo or Messi, Ronaldo or Messi. Now, Ronaldo is possibly in the last World Cup that he will have the opportunity to lift that trophy. Does Ronaldo have to win the World Cup to be reinserted into that question of Messi versus Ronaldo? Or even if Ronaldo does win this World Cup, it's still always going to be Messi for you?
Well, for me now, Ronaldo doesn't have to win the World Cup. In the same way that Johan Cruyff didn't win the World Cup, should have, but didn't. No, I wouldn't like denigrate Ronaldo for not winning the World Cup with Portugal. I mean, he's out now, isn't he? Like, so yeah, this was his last shot at it. Like, so probably can't see him being around in 4 years' time, but who knows? No, I wouldn't say he's less than Messi on that score. Like, I mean, Portugal had good players around. They've always got good midfielders and decent centre backs, but maybe just not had quite enough to win the World Cup.
Okay. It's interesting because, like, this next, I know that because I think this World Cup has been one of the more entertaining World Cups. I know some people don't agree with that sentiment simply because of the number of teams that were involved in it. But I mean, like, realistically, a lot of those teams, if they, you know, your Cape Verdes and the likes, really brought some real entertainment value to this World Cup. And then you have the next generation of superstars, possibly Jude Bellingham, Florian Wirtz, Yamal, Holland, Musiala. You know, I think these aren't just simply talented football players. I think they're the faces of football's next chapter. next era, if you want to call it that. When football looks back 50 years from now, who will be remembered as the defining player of this generation? Will it be Cristiano Ronaldo? Will it be Messi? Or will it be someone entirely different? Because, and you got to put in Luka Modric. I put Luka Modric in the title of the caption.
Yeah, he's been one of the best. Forgot about him myself. Like, but obviously,
the ending of
like, yeah, people don't mention him as much as Ronaldo and Messi because he ain't a forward, Modric. But I always liked Messi more. Just he was the more naturally gifted player, and Ronaldo made himself. It depends what you like, what you like looking at. You know, the optics and that. And for me, I like watching Messi go about his business more than Ronaldo. But Ronaldo was sensational to watch. Like, I can see why he's got so many fans. I mean, I was into watching him too. Don't get me wrong. It's just like I like Messi a bit more as well.
Okay. JK?
Me, I think I prefer Ronaldo as a human compared to Messi as a human, but I prefer Messi's skill, what he does with the ball and stuff. But fair play to Ronaldo, bro. Could have came to Liverpool, but I think we said he was too skinny. We didn't get him. So, but I think he's a good lad in that way of when I see a lot of people running on to the pitch to go on hug him and stuff, he never sort of pushes them away. He's always like, all right, come on, no problem.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. I saw that as well.
Yeah, he does actually seem quite nice, doesn't he? It's just that he played for Man United was the problem.
That's the only thing. Yeah. Look, bro, he had that bad news about his child and stuff. We sang for him at Anfield, and he appreciated that big time. You know, so he's good to his fans, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought we got outbid because Houllier was our boss then, wasn't he? And I remember him saying, like, he was quoted, like he said to Fergie, "Oh, you beat me there, you beat me to getting him." Because, like, United just come in and took him. I don't know what, there might have been something about his physicality there, but we balked at the fee and United didn't, was what I heard at the time.
I just find it that, you know, this World Cup, I know despite what people are trying to belittle it too, I just think that this World Cup has been something of an enjoyable World Cup, not only because of some of the surprises that we've seen in this run, but because this is arguably the ending of a generation, of a golden generation. Obviously, Luka Modric is incredibly incredibly talented. I wish rather than him going to Real Madrid, he had gone from Spurs to Liverpool, to be honest with you. But I've always thought he's an incredible talent himself. We saw that end, and it was Ronaldo versus Modric in that game, you know, and you're seeing two players that had the wills of their future, when the ending of their World Cup future would be in that game happen. And then now we have obviously Portugal moving on, or excuse me, not moving on, but ending today against Spain. And and Ronaldo has announced that this is his last World Cup. So we are now seeing another great player from this era call it a wrap. I know it eventually happens to all players. I understand that, but I mean, like, it's the brilliance and beauty of the fact that we are blessed to be seeing it, at least, you know, and being able to see this in real time.
Well, Messi's still in the competition, but we won't be seeing him in 4 years' time. I think we all realise that. So he's another one taking part in his final World Cup, isn't he? As Luka Modric was for Croatia.
Yeah.
But, you know, always new good players come to the fore and that, like, and there always is some who will emerge, like. and be like the biggest names once them names are no longer in the mix. I just don't know who we're going to get, like this transfer business. I haven't really got that many names to throw in there, like myself. I just hope whoever we get, we make the right decision. Take our time if we have to get signings and to make sure we get it right, but get it right. Hughes has got quite a bit to do. If it is his last year and that, like, I mean, that shouldn't mean anything. It's still his job. That's what he's got getting bloody paid for. So if he can do the business this summer and get the right men in, then I'll be pleased as punch.
All right, well, let's do something. Let's just, I guess, deal with the elephant in the room. All right, so I know my next stop is Seattle, Washington, but some might think I'm in the wrong Washington. Maybe I should be in the Washington, D.C., considering what has happened with this announcement of Valerian Balogun. I don't know why people call him Flo, actually. But I know that I've heard people call him his nickname as being Flo. I'm like, his name is not
Flo. I can see it, can't you? It's in there, not in that order, but it's in there. The F, the L, the O, you know.
Yeah, so it's in there. Like if you mix it around, I'm sure you can make.
Yeah, you can make an anagram, can't you?
Yeah, I'm sure you could. Anyhow, I know that some people are kind of up at ends with what has happened. It's not like this is the first time this has happened, by the way. It has happened. It happened in last World Cup when Ronaldo, I think, got a red card and he got it rescinded, by the way. I didn't see and hear a lot of the whole, like, you know, issues and problems when his was rescinded, but all the same, I know Ronaldo has more fans than Balogun does.
Well, I remember Ronaldo helping to get Rooney sent off in the Euros quite a number of years. Can't remember what year that was. Was it like 2006 or something like that was? But like, yeah, and he winked at the camera as Rooney was going off, like with his red card, get his mark orders, sort of winked at the camera because like they were at the ref. Rooney did do a bad foul, as I remember, but I think he wound him up, and that he did. He wound him up, and he went for it, Rooney. But Ronaldo was involved with his United teammate there getting sent off.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one today. I'm gonna hit our I'm gonna save a little extra for the Moments of Reds Zen. I do have a very special Moment of Reds Zen, but I'm very interested to see what happens with the lineup. Actually, the lineup might be actually announced right now. Let's see if it is announced, because we are about an hour away from kickoff. Let me see. Lineup.
De Bruyne is not in starting.
So Balogun is starting. It is going to be Freeman, Richards, Ream, Robinson, McKennie, Adams, Tillman, Serginho Dest, Balogun, and Pulisic. And you're right. Who is this guy? Charles D. Catalari.
Yep. Yeah.
Who's he play for?
He plays.
For Atalanta.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I remember his name when we played them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they've got
Doak, Trossard,
Uki, Biako, Trossard. Trossard's a player that we're definitely have to keep an eye on. Tielemans, Onana, Raskin. Yeah, they're not starting. They are not starting KDB.
I think he's got a good chance.
Not starting.
Yeah, I think he's got a good chance of beating Belgium. They're not the team they were, but they're still decent. and can
Still
cause you
not starting.
problems.
Doku
But yeah, I
doesn't
think
get,
he's got a decent chance here.
Doku doesn't get the start. KDB's not getting the
Oh,
start.
Doku didn't start. Oh, okay.
Nope.
Wow.
Lukaku's not starting.
Maybe he's gonna do that, settle it down, and then bring them guys on.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, the environment that they're playing in. Look, if it was closer, I would have gone. I would have tried to go. Just even if I couldn't even get into the game, I would have tried to, fly out and be a part of the atmosphere, because Seattle is arguably one of the best environments for football in this country.
Oh,
So,
okay.
the Seattle team for the MLS has, I think, the best fan base in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Very close to the only other competitor that would even remotely be as close to Seattle would be Portland. Portland and Seattle both have possibly two of the coolest fan bases I've ever seen. And I'm talking about, like, they rival fan bases internationally with the amount of interest and patronage and loyalty that they show for their team. I mean, it is pretty cool what they do with up there in Seattle and in Portland as well. But big game. So I'm going to have to I know we're at the 2-hour mark. We're right around when we normally end, but I'm wanting to definitely get this Moment of Reds Zen in, because I made a graphic for it and I wanted to actually share that graphic. So let me bring this up, because this Moment of Reds Zen, I think, is kind of personal for a lot of us. Let me bring it up here. Find my image. All right. So there are footballers, there are legends, and then there are people who become part of a city's identity. This week, they had the top 100 greatest players of all time be a part of the Liverpool's greatest came to a conclusion this week, and they announced the number one player. And the number one player is the man who was able to do this. He wasn't simply the captain of this team. He was a bit of all of us. Whether you were from Liverpool or not, you felt like you wanted Steven Gerrard to be maybe your big brother or your little brother, but you felt related to him in one way or another. He celebrated like we celebrated. He hurt like we hurt for competitions. He carried the expectation of millions of supporters every single time he stepped onto the pitch. He could have left. Many thought he would. Many thought he should. The offers came, the money came, the trophies elsewhere almost certainly would have come. But Steven Gerrard stayed. Not because it was easy, because it mattered. Recently, supporters voted him Liverpool's greatest player in the history of this club. 134 years this club has been around. Over, get this, 1.35 million votes. Think about it for a second. We've had Kilkenny, we've had Rush, we've had Hansen, Souness, Barnes, Salah, Van Dijk, Ali. Hundreds of extraordinary footballers. Yes, supporters chose Steven Gerrard. And you could ask yourself why, maybe. And I say because greatness isn't always measured by medals. Sometimes it's measured by sacrifice, by loyalty, by carrying hope when hope is all that's left. Every generation of Liverpool supporters has one player who defines what this club means to them. For millions that player is Steven Gerrard. Not because he was perfect, but because he was ours. And perhaps that's the highest compliment any footballer can ever receive. And it was a beautiful thing to see. I made a little, I'll show you my little, this was my little thing that I made for him. For Steven Gerrard. So that's your moment of Red Zen there. Did you want to give any thoughts before we bounce out of here? Because I've got to leave in the next like 10, 15 minutes to make kickoff. Any thoughts? You guys want to talk about Stevie G?
Yes, the good one, Stevie. He was brilliant for us, wasn't he? Played snooker on that man's table, I did. Can't remember if I won or not. I was pretty drunk by the time, but we met his stepdad when we were out drinking, me and my brother. We got talking because Gerrard is my stepbrother was with, but Gerrard is my stepdad's mum's surname, and there's supposedly a relation. And we got talking to his stepdad in a pub. And he took
us yeah.
And he took us to one of Stevie's house flats to have a game of snooker against his stepdad and his mate and me and our John. It was good. So I can't remember though if I won or not. Like. I was pretty drunk. Good though.
He's Gerard's fourth cousin or something.
Well, he's got, now I'm not related to my stepdad's family, but he's got the same eyes as my stepdad and my little brother and my half brother, like as well. It was like I can just think of our John's eyes when he had a cob on with me when I was a kid, like Stevie's like face on the left there. He's got the same eyes, like. No, we found out apparently there was two guys used to be Sunday League referees related to my stepdad. They called Gerrard, like, and they found out somehow that there was a relation because Huyton, where he's from, you know, it's a new place, and they had to come from somewhere before they went there, and a lot of them were in the Bootle area, the Gerrards, before Huyton existed. So could be true. There was all pictures up on the wall of like Rooney, but not his Everton shirt, signed things, you know, in glass cases of all the fucking players. Rooney, this, that, the other. It was good. It was a nice lad. I don't think he lived there anymore. Well, that house, I must have the house by then. It was good.
Yeah, I've been to Doctors, where Rooney's from. For me, bro, Steven Gerrard is that no one's got a real problem with him being number one. Character, like even when he does interviews now, bro, I can listen to him all day. I don't get it if I'm doing it for the money. You know, them type of guys who are just there for the fucking money. Presenting. Gerrard's there because he loves football. And when he talks, you listen to what he says. You know, it ain't just I'm forcing myself to listen to what Gerrard's saying. No. It's like when he talks, he states facts and he talks like one of us. And that's why I connect to him as a TV guy. And I'm thinking he'd be great to work as a manager. And I wish maybe in the near future he gets back into it. Look at Frank Lampard. He got back into it, got Coventry into the Premier League after so long. So for me, I wish Gerrard now, he's got that number one title. And I've seen the little interview he gave. He's still humble and nice, you know what I mean, Stevie? He can do what he wants in his life, bro. You know, who cares? But he's a top lad to all the Liverpool fans, and he's always been sound, you know? Like, everyone does what they want in life, but fair play to him, man.
Yeah, he's one of those things where, you know, they say you'll never have to buy, you never have to pay for a steak again in your life or something. One of those things. No matter where you go, you know, you never have to pay for a meal.
You know what it was? When I was at Anfield for the first time and I seen Stevie G spray a ball from the right wing side to the left, like 30 yards, and I was like, yo, that's what I came here for. It was like, whoa, I just want to be like this guy.
Favourite one when he first come in the team. Remember the Sheffield Wednesday one where he'd done a few?
His first one, yeah.
But before that, he played it right back in the derby, and he was up against Danny Cadamassi, and like he was having a right tussle with him, and he ripped Danny Cadamassi's collar to the extent that it was literally hanging off on his back. It was hanging down on his back over his name, and it was just funny because he had a right tussle with him that day. Like, and he come out well, he did well. Cadamassi was a dangerous fast player. It was a good tussle that, from the young Stevie, like when he was still a kid.
You want to say something before we bounce? Close out? Maybe not. Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, look, for some people, Dagley should have been number one.
I understand that. I also think that you also probably have to relate it to. I think that's funny because, like, you're talking about. You got to relate it to those that are voting, also, and maybe some of the likes of the people that are from a generation that don't even really go online. You'd be lucky if they have the kind of people that are lucky if they have an email address. Much less do they go online to vote for these kinds of things.
No, I did.
So, like, to say it's like, it is what it is, but it is more of, I think, and this is just my perspective, I guess, because I wasn't involved in the voting process, but it seems to me like there's enough people in this generation, there's enough of, I would say, like, millennials and beyond that probably would have Stevie G because of what Stevie G meant. They lived and grew up with Stevie G, as opposed to the generations that grew up with King Kenny and connecting him as being their number one choice. Look, Stevie G says that his number one choice is King Kenny.
Yeah,
we get that. Okay, he said that in an interview when he was being asked.
Yeah, my choice is Kenny. As much as I love Stevie, Kenny's above him. Sorry for that. Kenny's above. Like the Gerrard thing with not winning the league, like, and sometimes rival fans will go, "You never won the league." It's like, and saying that, like, Lampard's a better player than him because, like, he won the league. That's not how it works.
But
it's like Cruyff not winning the World Cup or Zico not winning the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things.
I just think that.
Sometimes.
No, and I get what you're saying, but I also think that, especially I would think that someone from your particular background, being born and raised in Liverpool, seeing someone, King Kenny is certainly taken in as being a part of the fabric of Liverpool. I get that. But at the very same time, he wasn't born in Liverpool, like, this is one of your own. This is someone that, was like, raised and went through the youth academy and, went through all the stages. Want to be able to do what you're watching right there and lift that trophy, which was something that, not many people have ever done. And he got to do it, despite being on teams that didn't have nearly half the talent that some of those King Kenny teams had, and he still was able to lift that trophy. I know he didn't win the Premier League, but the sheer fact that he stayed with this club, he didn't turn and run and go play for.
Exactly.
He was tempted, but he could have turned and run and go play with Chelsea, play for Mourinho or something, and have won multiple trophies. He stayed. I think that's the determining. For me, that's the little bit of the determining factor as to why he gets the tip of the cap for the number one when it comes.
Stevie's slip had to be him, didn't it? Just to provide a song for Chelsea fans and United fans, but, like, it was mainly on Rodgers as well. Like, just on Stevie slipping, we shouldn't have been having such a high line because we didn't have to win that Chelsea game, mate. A 0-0 would have done us. And all we would have had to do was go to Palace then and win, which we would have done. We didn't win at Palace, but that's because we tried to win like 9-0 or something and ended up going 3-0 down. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's on Brendan as well that he never got his league. Like, too high a line.
Like, for me, Steven Gerrard, John Barnes, and Mo Salah are the three main guys you got the fan bases into sport in Liverpool. When you look at it, John Barnes, a lot of Jamaican, Indian, a lot of people, coloured people started supporting Liverpool because of him. Stevie G if it weren't for Stevie G, bro, I'm telling you now, this team could be a championship side
Yeah.
or a lower level. No, I'm not
Yeah.
competing at all. I'm telling you
Yeah.
now, bro. We seen that.
Yeah.
We went through that. We lived it. And if it weren't for Gerrard, bro, we had no one else to go. You
Yeah.
know, Man United fans, when they used to give it large, Beckham this and Keane that. And like, we only had Steven Gerrard to say, we've got this guy. He kept us afloat, bro. And that's why,
Yeah.
for me, he is number one. I
Yeah.
know
That's
that's the main reason, because he was on his own.
being
And
number two is not
yeah.
necessarily it's not a knock at King Kenny. It's not, and it's not meant to be. I'm just saying that for me, like, there was just so much that Steven Gerrard did on, like, as in, he put this team on his back during years where we were absolutely sometimes miserable to look at, and yet, you know, for me, it was always, you could always say, but we've got Steven Gerrard. You could just simply, like, as in, yeah, we don't have all the big name signings from this player or this team and that team, or we don't have some quote unquote golden generation like Manchester United did. But one thing I would always be able to say is, but we have Steven Gerrard. We have number 8. That was immense. Look, we're going to do a show. I already started putting it together on this greatest 100 show. You can bring in, we're going to have plenty of segments. We're going to have, opportunities to say what players should be, further up or further down. We'll have the opportunity to say who should even be on the list, who should be on this list. We'll have plenty of opportunities. I already reached out to Dara to be a part of the show. Hopefully he responds and is a part of it. Obviously I hope that the panel is available for that show. We'll work out something so that we can try to get all 3 of these guys on the show, because they've got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the history of this club and the players and the significance of these players to them individually, or as into these players in a whole.
What I watched of that Liverpool FC YouTube channel, the best 100 with Barnsley and Sammy Lee and with someone else and others there. I was glad that Massive was included at like 72 or something like that, I think it was. Because I thought Massive was boss. For me, he's my favourite partner for Virgil since Virgil's been here, above Ibu and above Joe. Ibu and Joe both have their qualities, but I thought Joel's game suited Virgil's game perfectly for the two of them. Partnership, I was buzzing. Because all right, people go, oh, he's always injured. He wasn't always injured. He was injured a lot, but like sometimes he'd be in for ages. And when he was, that I thought our defence looked its best under Klopp era. Him and Virgil, Robbo and Trent. Trent not playing inverted, and I thought it was a good inclusion because I like Joe. He's a good free signing.
All right, people, we're going to end it there because we're going to, again, like I said, have that conversation on this top 100. It's apparently controversial top 100. We've got about 60 people in the chat still that hung out with us this entire flight. So I appreciate you all. You guys want to say peace out?
Cheers, everyone. Everyone who's been in and is still in. Cheers for joining us. We'll see you soon. Keep the faith. Keep your fingers crossed. Something might be happening on the transfer front soon. As I've said, I can wait as long as we get it right. But, the sooner the better, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. JK, go ahead.
Yeah, same. Bless up to everyone on the panel and everyone in the chat as always. Great to see everyone there, and enjoy the game. And we'll see who wins out of America and Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll see. See if I'm gonna boycott Belgian waffles or not.
And the Belgian people, no more hot dogs or hamburgers.
No more Belgian waffles for me if we lose. No, I don't know. Delante, do you want to say peace out if you're there? Yes, no, maybe so. All right. Well, for Nalante, I'll say peace out for him, and I'll say peace out for myself. We are going to be back tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have a smile on my face because of the results of today. If not, it's still all good. I'll still be happy.
I like you USA top. That's the one. I think that's a cool top. That one there.
Yeah. This is
that's a bad boy top.
1994. This is one of those unique generations. I wouldn't call them golden, but I would certainly say unique. There were some fantastic players.
Yeah, I liked that one. I think the stars are the right size. They're not too big, not too small, but the right size. Then it's a nice top.
Kobe Jones, and I like the Adidas is on its own. It's just written Adidas like that.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
There's a couple of different there's a couple of different kits. Yeah, there's a couple of different kits. There's like the Where's Waldo
I only ever had an England top once, and you're gonna think I'm awful, right? But work experience when you're in school, right? And they send you on work experience for a week. I couldn't think of anything to do, and I said I like training shoes and that. So can I go in the sports shop? It used to be there on my local high street, and I stole an England shirt while I was doing my work experience.
Wait a minute. No, you misheard that. He acquired. He got lent
He lent to England up.
Yeah, he got lent. He borrowed a English jersey.
I got a German top when I was about 14. That was the first international top I ever got, a German one. Yeah.
They never give me any money. Some of my mates went to the wood yards. There's wood yards around there, where they've got all lumber. It's not there anymore, but they got paid at the end of the week.
Yeah,
they got 20 quid.
Don't give them money. Don't incriminate yourself.
Never give me anything. So I took my own.
Yeah, again,
but
he borrowed people.
That was a great film. In that one, Lee. That was a great film.
Yeah, that was a great
all right,
script. Enjoy,
script.
people. Yeah,
for a film, you can't mess with that.
Fantastic script. I'm looking forward to that bit of fiction. But all right, people, we will be back with you tomorrow. And until then, definitely take care of yourselves. And as always, up the Reds.